It's time for the Other Three Amigos podcast. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
On this week's The Other Three Amigos podcast, Dan's away, but he does pop in to join us live from Tala. Scotty isn't well, and Kerry needs to be checked out. There is negativity everywhere. The members of a certain committee are revealed. There is news of a prior meeting. The Mbengbag is opened. And Santa's paws are all over this podcast. All this and much more on this week's The Other Three Amigos podcast.
Hello and welcome to TOTAP. I don't know what season it is. I don't know what episode number it is because this is Decky and I'm not normally the host. And to be honest with you, I'm flying by the seat of my pants with no real idea what's going on. But look, that's how you should live life anyway. Dan is in Tala, will probably drop in to join us live from the game later on. Hopefully anyway. In the meantime, my two amigos, Mr. Carey and Mr. Mullins, are here to entertain the masses, review the games, and give the general opinion on life as it happens, which isn't good for Scotty at the moment, Scott, is it?
No, I've been sick for about 3 weeks now. And I'm very cranky tonight, so good luck to the editor, that's all I say. Which is me, I think. Anyway, but
you'll never censor yourself, surely.
No. But you have to sometimes. No, I've been in bits for about 3 weeks now, and it's just, I think it's like everyone kind of is catching this kind of whatever it is. And yeah, man flu, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous, lads. Be safe out there.
It's absolutely, everybody knows. We all know. We've all been victims at one time or another.
I heard it's worse than childbirth, but anyway.
All we can do is pray for you, Scott, and hope you make it through. Come through to the other side, out the other side. Safe and sound.
Back.
Lads, sometimes I wish we did this pod and video just so you could see the state of this of Kerry with his ORC hoodie, one Rebel Chief, his own branding on a hoodie. Something I think he calls an ulafala, which is some kind of Samoan yoke of a jig around his neck, which he says is in relation to the High Kings of Samoa and the highest honour you can have. And
the highest chief, Deck.
The highest chief in Samoa.
It's given to the tribal chief of Samoan tribes. Me being the original and only rebel chief, I felt fitting, given it was WrestleMania week as well, to wear my ulafala for the pod tonight.
Can I ask you a genuine question? One that Dan probably wouldn't ask you, but have you ever gone for any psychological assessments or anything, you know?
No, but my wife has recommended I go as well, coincidentally, Deck. So, given we've gotten to know each other a lot better over the last couple of weeks, I might take her advice in good stead, and we'll see. But,
okay.
I'm buzzing for the weekend, Deck, to be honest, and, very excited. I wanted to spread that energy to the TOTAP masses. And it's not just for Easter Sunday and all the Easter eggs and everything else. It's
of course, it's
or the Cork match, the opening Munster Championship game against Clare. It's a big
double game weekend. Bohs away, Waterford at home. Who wouldn't be buzzing? Yeah, we're all buzzing.
Remember the Samoans?
Right,
was it Fatu and Tutu or something? Wasn't it? What was their names?
Amazingly, you would mention that way. And Rikishi Fatu and his son now is fighting for the World Championship. Jey Uso, Rikishi's son. Yeah, Rikishi Fatu. So.
What was the tag team? What was the other guy's name?
The head shrinkers you're thinking of, is it?
Whoa. Stop.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm in charge tonight, guys. That's it. I'm in charge.
I'm just glad to see Wayne smiling. And he always starts smiling when he's talking about wrestling WWE, and he's so sick and everything.
I've an intro to do. I actually seen the intro here. It's
drum roll.
267. Yeah. So
Declan Buffer, let's go.
Dan isn't here tonight, so we've put together a different intro. So look, we are now on our 267th episode. Doubt us no, commies. Hello to all the amigos out there. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then we will move up the charts and be suggested more than other Cork City podcasts if you give us 5 stars and leave a review. So once you finish listening, please go back to Apple and do that for us. Best reviews get to share a point with Wayne, I'm told. I don't know why we're giving out bogey prizes to people doing us favours, but anyway, Spotify listeners, you can play your part also. Leave a comment on the episode telling us how much the other intro from Dan melted your brain. Anyway, have we ever told you about our Patreon? Well, once more, it's a £5 a month, and we need the cash to cover the ticket price increase this year. So please help us out. It's been updated with loads of content recently, after we were in the minus because of all the sponsorship last year. So cheers to Scotty for that. Reading in the City year started last week with 2015, and it's basically reading in the years but with City in it. Hence our marketing team came up with the name for it. There's another year being added to that series this week. The Santa's also recording on Wednesday night with another genuine City legend. So that should be out as well. So look, guys.
Declan, did you join acting school, did you?
Did I join acting school? No.
It just comes off so easy there. Like, it felt like it was coming off the cuff there. Like not reading off the screen there. Naturally. So intense.
That's what happens.
Well
That's
done.
what happens. Also, Dan sent me a message, guys. 3 points about hosting to remember. 1, respect the lads' opinion as they are vital to the continuing success of the podcast. No chance. 2, you need to bring a balance to the podcast, especially to ensure that organisations like CCFC and the FAI aren't unfairly treated by the panel. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen either. 3, in big bold writing, it's not all about you. Yeah, we figure that one out as we go on. So
I agree with all that, but except the FAI part, to be honest. Yeah. But thanks, Dan.
If you want balance, you're in the wrong parish, lads. I'll give you that much, I'll tell you that much, Anyway, let's crack on with the pod. So, the Academy this week, and the under-20s drew 1-1 away in Waterford, where Harvey Skeeters, who wasn't involved on Friday night, and we played in Tala tonight, but Harvey got the goal for the under-20s in Waterford on Saturday. Under-17s didn't have a game. If they did, I apologise. I couldn't find or see the result of it. Under-15s lost 3-2 in Waterford. Cunningham and O'Shea with the goals there. Just did notice that City had only 4 subs on the bench for that game. But look, it's under 15, so I don't know what was going on. Academy news, I saw there was a LinkedIn post from Liam Carney in the last couple of weeks. Did you guys see that? Where
that's a bit embarrassing, wasn't it?
Asking for people to fund the Academy, like he does every year. And look, I mean, obviously sponsorship is sponsorship, but I think lots of people are a little bit uncomfortable with the Academy manager having to go on LinkedIn to try and raise funds for an academy, which many people feel the club should be funding internally. Where do you sit in this one, Deck?
Yeah, when I saw it, look, again, and I can't stress this enough, like, I have an unbelievable amount of time for Liam, and I'm completely biased, obviously, because I worked with him in the past and all that, just for full transparency for anyone who doesn't know who I am. But yeah, when I saw that, look, I got a screenshot of it there last week, and he was on LinkedIn looking for support to kind of set up a type of a bursary fund. Now, it's a fantastic idea, again, from Liam. He's full of all these brilliant ideas to help not just improve the players, I guess, but improve them in terms of like general life skills and, you know, just helping the lads through like what is, I'm sure, a very high pressured and difficult journey that they're on, trying to, I guess, for a lot of them, let's be honest, they're trying to make it as professional footballers. But ultimately, like, the things that he's doing and all the development activities that are done with the academy are like for 2 main goals, really, to either get them to the men's first team or to sell them on for a profit. And look, there may be a small minority then that, look, they may want to still play at a very decent level and things like that, or, you know, they might use their lessons that they've learned in the academy and whatever jobs they move on to if they don't make it. And, you know, that's great too. But ultimately, like, that's why it's there, and understand why he has to go and do this. I guess it's a bit, as you said, Dick, it's a bit uncomfortable. And when, as you alluded to there, like, does it feel right that he's asking for these types of funds when I guess it's being portrayed as a not-for-profit amateur type of operation? And ultimately, those players as well, they pay to play for Cork City. As far as I know, that system is still in place. Like, at least when I was there, the players paid an annual fee. And like, it just seems a bit strange. But some of the stuff that Liam is suggesting that he's trying to raise funds for, like counselling support, help with the players' mental health, help training, and in terms of things like speaking and social media, racial awareness, cultural diversity, all that kind of stuff. Brilliant stuff, fantastic stuff that like the Irish education system is like severely failing on in a lot of areas at the moment. So like, fair play to Liam, like he's always thinking outside the box and trying to do things that are right for the players and help set them up for the best success. And you even like, as I said even previously about Ben Dummigan, like I've no doubt in my mind that fella is going to go on and have a very successful life and in whatever career he chooses, because I know of the things that Liam's been doing with these players and setting them up with the right mentalities and like the strong work ethic that he instills throughout all the academy coaches and academy players. So yeah, I guess like, look, if anyone wants to read the full thing from Liam, I think it's a public post on LinkedIn. It's not hard to find, but yeah, maybe TOTAPers can have a read through it and send in a few comments to it to the Mbengbag for next week. And we'd be interested to see what people think about this and have an open debate on it, because it is a debatable area, to be fair.
Very much a debatable area. Normally you come to me for the women's scoop, but yeah, they beat Waterford 4-2 on Saturday in Turner's Cross. You can find out more about that game on this week's Las Damas, which was released on Monday. It says here, this pod is like a Yorkie bar. It's not for girls. Anyway, okay.
Who wrote that?
Huh?
Who wrote that?
Here's the thing, right? I got home from work and there was a doc done. Normally the host does the doc, and I was struggling.
It wasn't done anyway because it was done. It wasn't done.
And it was done. And it was I don't know who did it, but it was like waking up on Christmas morning and everything was there, and this glorious doc was sitting there. So to whoever mysteriously did the doc and made it feel like Christmas morning, all I can do is thank them.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. Let's drive on.
Commie Watch with Ivan Draco on the Other Three Amigos podcast.
I guess we'd better go back to Mr. Carey. Shortly after last week's pod was recorded, we discovered or found out that Colin Healy had been offered the assistant manager's job at Cork City. He took some time, had to think about it, and eventually turned it down. Declan, thoughts on the whole situation, really? I mean, I think most people would look, and there was a couple of comments under our post going, can't be true, not after the way Colin left City. Why would he be considering coming back? Why would he be offered a position to come back? And it's I think a lot of people would view it as almost slightly strange.
Yeah, I've a couple of feelings on it, Deck, to be honest. I guess from what the club said, when Colin left as first team manager, it was amicable and he made the decision himself and the club didn't want him to leave. So I guess, look, do we take that at face value? And look, Colin then had his stint with the women's national team and we all know how ugly that ended. And I know he was offered the position down in Cobh for first team manager role down there, and he turned it down because of the women's national team position that he was offered by the FAI, according to him. And look, he's now, I guess, unattached, and is he the best available coach that Tim Clancy could have gone after that's from the Cork area and would be available to start immediately? Probably. At face value, did the club say he left on good terms and that it was his own choice to leave? And would they welcome him back? And is there any reasons they wouldn't? None that I'm aware of, I suppose. And I guess it's an interesting dynamic. Like the man who, look, we leave out Liam Buckley. I think that's rather forgetful anyway. Let's pretend he was never Cork City senior manager or whatever. And I know Richie Holland, who worked under Colin, and he was the interim manager as well for a while. But ultimately, Tim Clancy is the man who replaced him in a permanent capacity, and to come in and be his assistant. Look, it's an interesting one. But look, I think potentially it was a role that maybe suits Colin a bit better because, like, I don't know if he's a big fan of the limelight and the attention that comes with being a first-team manager in the League of Ireland Premier Division, and as well the way the club is looking to progress over the next couple of years. I could only see him maybe becoming even more uncomfortable with the pressure that the media brings on with all that. So, but again, yeah, very, very strange one for us to hear and come across. And as far as I know, it is true. I've heard it from a couple of different places now over the last week as well. Yeah, I guess interesting one. And as we said, the hunt for an assistant manager goes on, but like very interesting approach made by the club. I guess I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it too, lads. What do you think?
Scott Decky mentioned there the dynamic, and I mean it would be strange because if we were to lose another 3 games in the trot, there would be people just going, well, look, just fire Clancy and give it back to Healy, and I don't know. It's Decky is right. It's like the dynamic would have been very strange.
It would have been, and there's still a lot of history there. I can totally see why he didn't take it. There's probably still they let amicable terms, but there's still going to be a few issues there, I'd imagine. I can see here. We would have been shocked if he took it. Would have been a great appointment. I think it would have been because he's a great coach. He knows the club. He loves the club. New squad as well. Like there wouldn't be much left over from when he was here. But yeah, look, it's good to see us taking a punt and seeing what happens. And yeah, it was a long shot, wasn't it?
It was a long shot, and it didn't come to fruition. So the search goes on. Scotty, after the Derry game, I mean, the club wowed us with a tweet. The statistic, Benny Kudo hit 34 kilometres an hour against Derry. We lost the game. There was no mention of that, but Benny hit 34 kilometres an hour. Does this now make him a strong favourite to be Corky in the next mascot race?
I don't know, Declan, does it?
I don't know. I'm the host. I'm asking you the question.
I suppose it does.
For me, lads, or do you know that story? Or what?
Should I plot twist. What's this?
Well, we know Kerry was Corky in one of them.
But yeah, I'll tell you more about the day, actually, that I was Corky. This is a funny one, now, to be honest. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who get a good kick out of this, but I think it was it 2019? And Corky usually runs in that race up in Naas, is it?
Naas,
and it's for charity or whatever. And yeah, as usual, like Forrest was running the club at the time, and it was all hands on deck, and whoever could jump in and help whenever help was needed, we did. And we all did that as a board at different times. I'm sure all the lads on the board will have a funny story like this. And I definitely know of another board member actually who was Corky another time. But
I'm very surprised you didn't go and like get a runner from some running club. Would you not just go down and go, look, lads, we need someone here here's 50 quid? As far as I know, someone was supposed to do it, but they let us down at the last minute. And I was going on a shopping trip up the country to IKEA with my wife because I just got a new house. And anyway, as things transpired, as you know, like Neil Fenn became the Cork City manager a couple of months after. So like, coincidentally, I'd been making touch with Neil around the same time frame, and we had actually arranged to meet after my shopping trip with the missus that same day. So that same day, earlier in the day, I went up to Naas Racecourse and ran the race as Corky. I came third, got the bronze medal. Anyway, nice one. We got back on the podium. Then went shopping with the missus just after, and then met Neil Fenn for the first time, and we chatted a bit about like the opening for the Cork City position and stuff. And yeah, he said he'd be potentially interested in interviewing for it and whatever. And yeah, so yeah, that's an interesting one in history. So there you go. Not something I've shared before, but yeah, all happened in the same day. I remember telling Neil, actually, he was like, were we up to today? And I said, yeah, all good. And I said, did you see that race earlier, actually, in the Naas Racecourse? And he was like, yeah. Cork City run that. I see that every year. It's good crack on Twitter. I goes, yeah, that was me. I was Corky. He was like, what am I signing up for here? Like, this is the kind of club we are. Like. Said, there you go. I know. Anyway. I know. Look, it's all good. Everything. To be fair, Neil Fenn everyone back to the start. We did, like, so.
His budget was absolutely shocking.
What was it?
Terrible. It was about a third, maybe even slightly less than what it was in previous 2 seasons. It was
diabolical.
$10,000,
like, or are you talking?
Oh, less. Yeah, it was a relegation budget without a shadow of a doubt, and we were just hoping with like things like the loans that he got in from the UK and things like that. And then look, COVID happened, and then we lost Redmond and lost a few other players, and like there was look when things go wrong, when you've a very like delicate squad situation like that, it can collapse very quickly. And I hope something similar doesn't happen to us this season. But
this is what I was going
I
to
think
say.
it's
It's like history repeating itself.
I think it was just look, that season, anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. We barely made it into the season anyway. Budget was terrible. There was no summer budget for bringing in anyone else or increasing it. And then COVID happened. The season was cut in half. And yeah,
but that makes it even more bizarre what he did with Darragh O'Connor and stuff like. You know?
Yeah, I suppose like at the end of the day, kind of like, I don't know, a Hail Mary, I guess, at the end when like you maybe just trying to change things up. And I heard stuff from him and Joe Gamble afterwards about like, you know, they were just like coming into training, and when you're in a relegation dogfight like that, you just try and do something different because you're just worried if you come in and just do the same thing in training that the same thing's going to happen on the Friday night, and they try and change things up. And look, I know there was a bit of argy-bargy and Bishops down there that day. Like I remember getting a phone call about it, whatever. And yeah, Neil lasted another 24 hours then after that. So it was that was an interesting couple of days actually. Yeah. Oh God, from Naas to that, I would have never thought after chatting to Neil that day and driving home with the Corky suit in the boot of the car like that, you know, it would have turned out as it did. In fairness, he had some good results in his first couple of months. Like remember we had that win against Dundalk at home, and we were all upbeat really going into that season. But yeah, then when the financial situation like really reared its ugly head in the off season, and then the licensing situation as well, like when the FAI and the revenue kind of pulled the rug from under us too, like yeah, difficult spot. I think he's very unlucky, to be honest. There's arguments to be said that like, look, is he suited for being a first team manager in the League of Ireland and all that? But anyway, we can talk about that another time.
Scott, Tim Clancy confirmed at last Wednesday's press conference, kind of what everybody knew, but we just need to mention it because he did confirm it that Keats he's out for the season. He has ruptured his Achilles. We did say that last week that was what it was looking like. Confirmation of what we all knew already, but it's still a bitter pill to swallow for Keats and for the club and the fan base.
Absolutely. Thing is, like, you lose Maguire, that's bad enough. You lose Keats, a player who can hold the ball up, and I would say he's probably in his better role as a one man up front. Two lads coming off him. Yeah, I'm gutted for the guy. I think he's a very good player for us. We're in trouble, lads. We really are. But this is what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. And this is what we've done. We get to it later, I suppose. I don't know. Is it now the time to do it? This is what happens when you put everything into one area of the pitch. And we said it. Look, we said this almost a year ago when they signed. I hope this isn't a case of eating into the next year's budget. And it clearly has. But I just, like, personally, I just want to say, look, best luck to him. And I hope we see him back. It'll be next season. If even the start. Will it be longer? Who knows? But hopefully the club look after him.
Yeah, Tim said 6 to 9 months, but I mean, generally it's the bones of a year for a rupture.
It is.
Achilles, you know?
It's called a spade a spade. It's a year, like, so.
Yeah.
But look, he could be back for a title run in next season. Whichever division we're in. It's true. Like, come on, it's true, isn't it? Everyone's thinking it. Everyone's I said I saw on the forum today we've won 2 away games in since 2020, and the last one before that was August 2019. This is Cork City, like. I'm not going into this shit again of, this is where Cork City. It's horrendous. And there's people there all over the internet and the forums and stuff going, we'll be fine. This is where we're at. Sort of shit out.
It's that stat is mad that we've won 2 away games in the 2020.
5 since Caulfield was sacked.
Yeah.
5.
I mean,
or
it's
mutual agreement, whatever it's called.
So we should say Premier Division away games, not away games, of course,
Yeah.
but we've won Premier Division away games. It belies the previous 6 or 7 years. I was only thinking about this week. There's been no fun in following Cork City in the last 5 years. There has been very little fun in following Cork City since 2018, 2019. And it's heading for 7 years. I mean, heading for 8 years now since we did anything of note. And as time slips by, Deck, I do wonder if there's a whole generation of City fans like ourselves who just kind of start to become a little bit more distant from the club as the club moves forward in somewhat of a new direction.
Yeah, I can see that happening if we go down this year, to be honest, Dick. Not a massive exodus of supporters, but I think dare I say, our generation may just grow a bit too tired of the Athlons and the Wexfords and the Brays, sorry Wayne, and I just want to see the back of all those teams now for a period of time, a long period of time, forevermore. They should be the ones delighted to be coming up and playing us and going to Turner's Cross for their once every 7 or 8 years stint in the Premier Division. We don't belong down there with the absolute pits of National League clubs. And that's what they are, ultimately. Sorry if you're listening, but your grounds are terrible. Your amateur players and squads, amateur at board level as well, and off the field staff in a lot of cases from whoever, some of the folks I've dealt with down the years. And I just don't think we belong down there. And I'll feel sorry as well for some of the club staff as well that have stuck it out over the last decade too in some difficult times, and I've great respect for them for sticking with the club and I just the thought of it
yeah.
Like,
you mentioned
question,
first.
right? We've one of the biggest clubs in the country, right? We've got a massive catchment area. There's no clubs. Cobh aren't near us, right? Huge fan base, decent stadium, good, decent merchandise sales, sponsorship. Why are we where we are? Now I know people are saying, "Oh, we've the transport costs. We've had transport costs for 40 years, all right? It was probably more years ago. Double clubs have it easier. That's fine. But why are we in a situation where we're always broke? We've no money, yet we've got an average crowd of 3,000 to 4,000. Fans are willing to dig in. I just don't understand it.
in one sense, Wayne, and I hate to be devil's advocate, but we are the longest running League of Ireland Cork representative. I know, there's Ramblers fans listening here saying we've been around since 1890, whatever. We are we've survived no longer in the league than Hibs and Celtic and Cork United and all these that came before us, and only for us, it would be gone and it would just be gone to the ether again like the rest of them. And some might argue we're lucky to have a club, but I see where you're coming from. We should be doing better and we should be expecting better, and we had great stability and success, I think, in the noughties, I guess, and under Brian Lennox era, and I think that gave a lot of mine and your generation a kind of a flavour of what this could be. But unfortunately, I just don't know, over the last 15, 20 years, has the club ever captured the imagination of the great Cork sporting public on a consistent basis? And it's not that they don't know that the club isn't there, because by God, they come out and swallow up the tickets whenever we have a big European night in the Cross, or we have a big league decider, or there's a trophy presentation, whether it's First Division or Premier Division or whatever. They know how to turn up. But I don't know. Look, maybe look. To be honest, the crowds are still pretty healthy, and you see the kids coming in big numbers, and it seems like a big family day out now at the Cross on a Friday night. So look, try and remain optimistic.
Can I throw another angle on this, Scott? And people won't know this. Obviously, you guys do know it, and I don't know whether I should say it or not. But sure, look, I'm the host. I can say what I want now.
Go for it.
About a month ago, myself and Eileen met the club about the whole Las Damas situation, pat chats, access to the players and the women's side and all that, and it was very amiable. It was very friendly. We sat down with the club representative. We spoke things through. We weren't able to sort anything out. That's fair enough. Everybody left on good terms. But at the end of that meeting, I did make what I presumed everybody knew was a joke. And I said, lads, if you want to finish the podcast, just get relegated again this year, because there's no way we'll be back next year if it's the First Division again. And now I fear they may have thought I was serious and have gone with a new strategy to get rid of TOTAP.
tweets just stuck to the dressing room wall. I think that was one of our former managers' ones.
So is there a danger they've gone with the whole let's get ourselves relegated and not get rid of the podcast plan?
I never knew you actually met in the end. That conversation never happened after with us. I assumed
we were waiting. Yeah, like there was nothing to report back. It was just
Jesus,
what happened? Like, do you know?
Let's have a conversation after this.
We actually said we'd wait for you guys to inquire, and nobody ever inquired as to how the meeting went. So it's just like, okay.
I accidentally stumbled on it talking to Deck there last week. He gave me a little bit of a rundown of it, but I think I accidentally stumbled across it. I was like, oh, whatever happened there with that, actually, yeah.
I thought you were going to text me and get me walking across, remember? I'm kind of disappointed now, to be honest. Anyway, look, it's fine.
We'd never organise such shithousery like that with, for God's sake.
No. Oh, wait till you see the shithousery that's on the way, lads.
Yeah, you can bring the Dasher truck, the TOTAP Dasher truck to the next one.
Okay. Look, it's time to park the combi watch there anyway, I think. And
so no one can answer my questions, is what I'm hearing. No one can answer me why we have big crowds.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
High season ticket prices, good merchandise sales, nice stadium, and yet we are shit for the last 7 years. Nobody can answer me that question. Because you know what? Derry have costs, Sligo have costs, Galway have costs, Dundalk have costs, Waterford have costs, yet no, we're Cork City. No, I just don't understand this mentality of, League of Football clubs lose money. Whoop-de-doo. This is what happens in football. I'm sorry. Like, it's breaking news here, City, like. But why are we constantly just shit? I just don't get it. There's always an excuse. There's always an excuse out there. Transport costs. Oh, bad luck. COVID. Oh, this. Oh, that. Come on. This is like. I know last week you had all this little calm podcast, and everyone said how amazing it is. I'm sorry, no, but this is what I feel like, and I think it's absolutely bullshit that people are accepting this as it's okay. We're Cork City. This is who we are now. We're fine. This is grand. Sure, we have a club. God help us. You know?
I know. Look, I mean, it's investment. It's always investment. Forest had no money. Allegedly, there's money there. No, there is money there. There is no allegedly. There is money there now, but we're in a self-sustainability drive where it appears to me, and this is only my opinion.
Doesn't exist, Declan. I'm sorry. Like, breaking news again, like.
Yeah, there's a desire not to spend the ownership group's money. The desire is to tell every fan they have to pay X amount for a season ticket. They have to pay X for a match ticket. If you're a dipper, you dip in and out, you pay more. We don't care about you. And it's on the local businesses, and it's on the fan base, and it's on everybody else to fund the football club, except the ownership group. And I'll never accept that. That's not how football works. That's not how football works in any country. And if that's the route we're going, we're heading back to the first division because it's the inevitable outcome, in my opinion. Scott?
Just one last point, and I'll stop then, right? Declan, you said there a while ago that our generation, we will give up by the time if we get relegated again. I'm sorry, no, we've already given up because we're already accepting mediocrity, accepting our fate. So we're already there. This happened last year, I think, when Waterford beat us. I think everyone the mentality just changed, and we're like, this is, So I think that we're already here. Anyway,
I was shocked. And to be fair, I was shocked when after the relegation in 2023 that G came back and did another pod in the first division. I was pleasantly surprised because I was a fan of TOTAP and all that, but like, fair play to you for sticking with it, to be honest, because obviously, look, we all here love the club and we don't want to see the club back in the first division, but like,
that was one of the hardest years of my life, to be honest.
Yeah, I can
genuinely.
I'm surprised we didn't kill each other, like.
Yeah, you're trying to produce content. You're trying to produce something, like, and it's it's not there, and nobody cares about going to Wexford or going up to Athlone, and yet you're trying to make something out of it, and you're trying to get content for the pod. And myself and Scotty, as he said, it's a wonder we didn't kill each other. Like, it's just.
I see how hard it is every week, lads, with the editing and all that stuff. And then you're doing that where the build up is like, we're heading up to Athlone Town on Friday.
Yeah, it's
it's very like.
And that's what I said to the club. Like I said, I'm not doing it again, and I tell you that much now. And I'd be quite open about it. Like, it just won't happen again.
I'll be
not
here.
in the first division. And if that's their strategy, if the whole strategy is to kill TOTAP by getting relegated,
I definitely have at least another season in me anyway. And if that's in the first division, I'm full of beans here. Like, I'm ready to rock. But And I never did a podcast in the first division. I've won a first division as a
dark
chairman.
place,
I
I
never
tell
did
you.
a podcast.
Holy shit, it's dark.
Isn't it just dark? Yeah. Anyway, we'll drive on. It's still 0-0 in Tala after 7 and a bit minutes. As I said, Cork City 0, St. Pat's 2 last Friday night. We were on the cusp of getting to half time at 0-0, Scotty, which I think would have been something we were happy with. For me, Milan and Beng, you can't miss that chance, especially when we're short strikers, etc., and we need to take every opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to open the scoring. We don't. Benny Kudo has half a chance, I think, at the back post. I don't think it's much more than that. But we're comfortable in the game. We're really comfortable in the game. Pats aren't hurting us. They're not working us all that much. And just two, especially the second one for me is an absolute defensive catastrophe. First one is a much better, but Forrester does well and he finishes it well and whatnot. But 43 minutes gone, we're getting into half time at 0-0. Everything will be positive. 6 minutes later, we go into half time, we're 2-0 down, and the game's gone, Scott, isn't it?
The thing is, the second goal, you have to analyse it for what it is. We had 5 at the back, 3 in the centre at the back. If you have 2 centre backs, right, I get it. Strikers can pull defenders wide. When you have 3 centre halves, that should never, ever happen.
Yeah. I
don't care what level it is. 2 of them are marking men, whatever, but one man has to go out and close him down. I know it's a pop shot or whatever, but this happens all the time. We're always losing these long range shots, and there's obviously something going wrong. But I'm always the impression if you have a bad team, you have a chance in a game. When you don't have a team, you don't have a chance. And it's the first game in a while where I was resigned to losing, and tonight I'm actually resigned to losing as well. And you know me, I'm always trying to be positive about it, but I just think you can't. I can't blame those players for Friday night. I really can't, and I'm not going to blame them tonight either because they just haven't got the tools. It's like a doctor in a surgery. If he hasn't got his tools or his scalpels or whatever, he can't do his operation. Our club haven't given the players the tools to be a superior team. And as I said, if you a squad of average players, and like we did in 2023, you think you can get a result here and there. We can't get results with this first 11. We can't, So I'm going to find it hard here to blame any of the players, even though I did blame them for the goal. But I thought we played well. I thought the first 20 minutes we took it to them. But we're on to the end of a hiding always. And I know it's 2-0 isn't a hiding, but did anyone think we could come back into that game? Half the crowd left, it's hard. It's a hard watch.
We did have chances, though. To be fair,
we did, but these were chances. But these were chances like that. There was nothing there that went, oh, that's great play. Jesus, here we go.
I know.
I couldn't see it happening. It was more not luck, but it was more kind of. It was the circumstances of Pats being shit, I think.
And to be fair, you can single out the chances in the game. Look, we had that Mbengbag one. Couto had another one from a tight angle. He, drilled at the side net, and then he had that chance, later on as well, where he could have brought it back to 2-1. I don't know about this penalty shout as well. If he gave that penalty, the ref, in fairness, I don't think it was anywhere near a penalty. There's mild contact from Forrester on Colin.
I disagree. I think it was a penalty all day long.
I think he was going down before the push.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I always say it, I swear by, look at players' reactions. And if you go back and look at Chris Forrester's reaction, he turns around to the referee and he goes like this. And he's the guiltiest man on the planet. His face, he's just beyond guilty. So that's what I'm basing it on, Forrester's reaction. Forrester knows what he's done. He knows he's fouled him. He's pleading with the referee. And when the referee doesn't give it, the panic turns to relief in his face and he goes on and plays the game.
What do you make of those goals, Decky?
I agree with you. The second goal, I do not understand how there's nobody moving towards the football. How there's nobody moving towards Brendan Kavanagh. And Tim Clancy spoke in last Wednesday's press conference, I don't know if you heard it or not, where he spoke about where he thought there was a lack of desire to defend, a lack of want in people to actually defend. And you got to remember, Tim was a centre half by trade, so this is his area of expertise. And I think he will be absolutely gutted watching that goal and realising there's nobody moving towards the ball, nobody moving towards Brendan Kavanagh. Kavanagh has a shot from where he has it, but he could bring in another 5 yards if he wanted to, but he didn't want it because obviously the youngest. I think there's questions to ask about Teen Truce, to be honest with you. You probably shouldn't be beaten from that distance. the first goal, somebody said it gets a deflection before going in. But again, it's just defensively poor. How does Chris Forrester find that space in the box, as you said, especially with 3 centre-backs, you know? And this is where we spoke about young players, you know? Anderson is a young player. He's going to make mistakes, and Stoke want him to make his mistakes in Turner's Cross. They want him to make his mistakes in Tala so that he learns from it. So when he goes back to Stoke, he's made those mistakes, he learned from it, and he's a better player. And that's the danger in bringing in these young loan signings. Very, very good player, but learning on the job. And if we continue to struggle, it's going to become more and more difficult for these guys to affect games because they're young. They don't have the experience for it. They're going to suffer for it. Greg is supposed to be back next Friday night. I can't see him starting away at Bohs. And we'll talk about it later on, but I presume he plays maybe 30 minutes in Bohs and starts against Waterford on the Monday if he is available. But we're just so devoid of experience in and around that squad now that it's going to have a huge role to play as well. And like, I just felt if we get for argument's sake, we're awarded a penalty, we scored 2-1. I felt Pats were just playing in second gear, third gear max in the second half. They were just managing the game, which is something Shamrock Rovers do as well. Go a goal ahead, go 2 up, just manage the game. There's no real onslaught. There's no looking for a third. We're just playing it out and seeing it out. If we get back to 2-1, I just felt that Pats at another level or another 2 levels, they could go up. Whereas I felt we were playing as well as we possibly could. I don't know if that's accurate, if it's fair or not, but that's how I saw the game at the time.
Yeah, and I think that like everyone was worried. I think the few people I spoke to before the game started said, "Oh, this is the game. Like we're going to get a battering." But I don't think we got a battering. I think we got a lesson in how to go ahead and manage the game. Because we've done that this season and we failed every single time. And Pats did it. And look, you can argue we were on top and we had chances. And if Mbengbag could have put us 1-0 up and then it's a different game and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, they took the lead. And as Wayne, as you said there, did they ever look like then that they were going to give up the lead and we were going to come back? Probably not. After Couto's chance was saved, I said, yeah, that's it anyway. That's the end of that. Might as well pack up and go. And apparently, you know, there's reports online that maybe a few more fans left than what's typically seen depart the stadium after the hour mark or whatever. And I don't know if that can be quantified or whatnot, but yeah. And it looks like the crowd number is down as well from previous weeks too. Like, so it's maybe the cracks are starting to show now in a couple of areas.
Yeah, let's have a look at the player rankings according to the TOTAPers.
The rankings.
The rankings. Alec Nolan, who has been left out tonight, and Josh Fitzpatrick has come in and looks like he started up front. He was the lowest of the bunch. Sean Murray had his lowest of the season with a 4.7. Truce got a 5, and Bang got a 6.4. Kyle got a 6.6 and took the MVP. Tim Clancy got a 5. Scott, do you think that's a fair reflection? Nolan the lowest ranked, Cahill the highest ranked?
I think Carl had a few pop shots, and I was kind of going, stuck to that. But I like just get the ball in the box. Yeah, as I said, I find it very hard to criticize any of those players because we're literally down to the bare bones. We're actually past the bare bones, really, aren't we? We're kind of, you know. And apart from the first goal, look, it happens. I see the second goal. I think was a bit of a disgrace, and they should have stopped that. But overall, I didn't expect anything. I don't expect anything tonight, and I really don't expect anything from Friday night either, or the following Monday. I think we're going to lose all 4. That's a word. And for me to say that, like, I just can't. This is the first time in 35 years of sport I just can't see light at the end of the tunnel. I really can't, because I just don't understand. Like, remember in the 90s and the 80s, we had always a core of Cork-based players, or Tipperary, Waterford, kind of, you know, they're just not there anymore. And if we're relying on bringing dubs down and lads from the UK and abroad, I don't know. I just don't see us getting out of this. And it's really worried. First time in a long time, I'm really worried. I always thought in the old relegations we get away with it. I don't see it now, unfortunately.
Do you think our season is hindering on Bolger and Maguire coming back and being able to stay fit for the rest of the season. Relatively
100%. Maguire could easily come back and score 15, 20 goals. He could,
That's
you don't know.
For me, that's basically it.
And this is exactly the thing.
If Maguire can come back, my confidence will increase tenfold if they can maintain consistency. But that is the giant question mark. And then if we just get Bolger back, do you think, right, we might not lose as many games? Like, I don't know.
The big worry I have, I was seeing this words, mini league. I saw it over the weekend. And I was like, is this where we're at now? That we're looking at a mini league between us, Sligo, Waterford? Like, are we now consigned to that we have to win our mini league?
Already?
When you're doing stuff like that, like you're doomed.
Yeah.
I'm just pessimistic this week. Look, I just think I'm just really worried. As I said, I wouldn't blame any players.
Yeah, I think it's because the more optimistic of the fan base probably saw that on the same night, all of the teams around us lost as well. So I just hope that doesn't come another one of the Cork City online fan bases, favorite terms we won the mini league or we won a game in the mini league.
Everybody around us lost, so us losing doesn't matter. That mentality just.
Oh yeah, I know that can creep in.
We lost our mentality somewhere in the last 7 years. We've lost it, and I keep bringing it up all the time. We've lost it somewhere. We need that back, or we're going to be. We were like shells for the last 10 years before they won the league, up and down, and Cork people won't accept that. They'll just get bored and move on.
Interesting.
I remember that one time when, and I'll give another little nugget here of like the inside track, but I remember before the 2022 season, and I know you're sick to death of me harping on about it because we won the first division, etc. But like, I remember having a meeting with Colin Healy, a couple of the other board members were there too, and it was kind of like a couple of weeks before the season, a good couple of weeks before the season started. I think it was even before Christmas, and the lads hadn't even come in for like pre-season training, and like that man, like, after we finished kind of a positive end to the first division the year before, but we missed out on the playoffs or whatever, he was like, we are not spending another shitty year in this fucking shit division. Like, and then we were like, okay. And then he said, I'm bringing in the players. We're going up. We're going to win the league. And I was like, okay. And he kind of like even surprised me, like with the, I thought he'd come in and give the usual, manager. Well, yeah, we'll finish in the top two, and we'll try and like we don't have the highest budget. Galway and Waterford have more than us, and whatever. But like the passion in his eyes, and he was just like, no, not a chance. And then the signing started rolling in, and he brought in Keating and whatever. And like I think, you say like it was miserable. I actually really enjoyed that year, even just as a fan, like because it was there from the beginning, and I saw the mentality in the background and the winning mentality, and the fact that like we're not going to suffer this shit anymore. And that's probably, look, it was. I think that was an enjoyable year. Look, obviously, I was closer to it on the board, but like, I know we just need more of that.
It was enjoyable. It was relatively enjoyable because it was half unique. Like, but it was the first division, and I'll never hold the first division up as a.
I agree with you.
We should never have been down there. Well, but like club decision should never have been down there.
Yeah.
I don't want to even contemplate being back down there next year.
We just need more of that mentality, like not this mini league stuff. And as you said, Deck, like, it's fine, everyone else lost. But like that we got lucky this weekend, or last weekend, I should say.
Like ourselves. Like ourselves, there was lots of unhappy City fans online, on Instagram and Twitter over the weekend. We got sent lots of stuff. I'm just going to flake through a lash of it here. And just saying, I'm reading this out. It's not TOTAP's view. We don't endorse any of the views. We may agree with some of the views, but look, these are sent to us. They're not our views. Cobh and City playoff final. Milan and Mbengbag to start in midfield. Fuck it, throw him up front altogether. Throw Charlie Lyons up front. Charlie Lyons looked like he belonged in the red badge of courage with that head bandage. Surely we can bring sports medicine into the 21st century at the Cross. This is going to be a long old season. Impossible to keep our heads above water with a squad as light as this. Does Tim have faith in Skeeters? Lack of a striker really showed. Looks like a bad move letting Murphy go to Cobh without getting in someone to bridge that gap between Keats and Shawnee and the academy lads. Not sure if the academy lads will be able to grab the goals for us. Why do we all fuck up the 5 subs over 3 intervals rule? We are literally the worst since it was introduced. It's looking bleak. We are going down. Alex Nolan is absolutely muck. Tries to do a skill, fails, then proceeds to not track back. There was a ball played into the box which was defended by Pats, and rather than getting back into position, he hung on the crossbar. An absolutely pitiful signing. Feel for the lads, to be honest. Pathetic. There's no point in Alec Nolan playing up front. He won't get stuck in up there. He was pulling out of challenges when played as a winger. He's not going to get stuck into the centre halves when he's playing up front. 10-year-olds letting off smoke bombs at 2-0 down was a disgrace. What's wrong with Aaron Healy to say he's not even getting a look in at midfield when we're shouting for someone like him? The club and social media is doing my head in. Losing 2-0, squad in his shambles, and that fool up in his ivory tower catching the ball thinking it's a right old laugh. Where are the goals going to come from?
Who's saying all this?
Different people.
All right, you're not naming them.
Huh?
You're not
No,
naming
so
them.
how could I?
Sounds like one of Scotty's old rants on the forum. Just the
Yeah,
whole thing.
if I put names to all of them, we'll be here.
It is the thing. As bad as a lot of them are, your mouth opened when he said the one, this is the young fella setting off smoke bombs at Tool. Your mouth just went, like, I just see you back in the old shed days, the back of Ian Sheehan's bus, like, giving out stink about it. Like,
there's a couple here I want to go back to. Does Tim have faith in Skeeters? This is an interesting one because we debated last week whether it'd be Alec Nolan, Harvey Skeeters starting up front. Harvey Skeeters didn't see a minute on Friday night, played for the under-20s in Waterford on Saturday, and he was the backup plan to Shawnee and Keats. So I go back to my negligent comment last week, which didn't go down well in quarters, but I don't care. I stand by it. And if the backup plan now doesn't have any faith from the management, then surely that exposes the plan in inverted commas as being more flawed than any of us had ever thought.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure because it could be a case of that he doesn't want Skeeters as one up top. You know, I don't know. Like the way he's playing now, it seems to be like a Klopp kind of three lads interchanging / false nine / we haven't got one up front. I don't know. It looks like he hasn't got faith in him, which is a shame. Every lad deserves... He hasn't had the time on the pitch to prove it. You know, there's a lot of pressure, and I think there's two ways you do it. You back him or you don't. And I fear he hasn't done the right thing. That's just my opinion. I'm not a football manager. I'm good at football manager, but I'm not a football manager. But I think you have to play these players, and Nelson now is kind of a false nine. Am I right in seeing that tonight? Not a false nine as like Fabregas was, but he's kind of a deep lying attacker. There's no room for Skeeters in that formation, if what I see.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to host this. I'm trying to read docs. I haven't really been able to pay much attention to the game. I can see there's 26 minutes gone. It's still 0-0. So we've obviously been doing okay so far.
Yeah.
What did we make of the hoo-ha on Friday night? We lost the game 2-0, and there was probably about 7 minutes given in the commentary to Aaron Hoey catching a ball. Then there was a number of photos on social media and the rest of it. And I mean, I don't know. For me, it's not even worthy. Like it's something that you mention once and that's it. But like,
losing at home. I'm always of the opinion you kind of go into a absolute necessary tweets only after that.
Yes.
And by absolute necessary, I mean like someone close to the club has passed away, so you pay your respects. If there's tickets going on sale for a very important club event within a couple of days, you put those out in the bare minimum. That would be my mentality. Like I wouldn't want... Like I'm all for a laugh and a joke on social media. Like I've shown myself that in the past. Like, but home defeat, yeah.
My view, right? Do you remember in 2005? I know I'm going way back to. We won the league. All the players were on a piss every Friday night on a lash. Havana Browns, without exception, VIP room. We were all there. Like we all saw it because we were winning. It's the same kind of mentality. If you're winning, you can do what the fuck you like. Do what you want. Put out stupid tweets. Go drinking, players, whatever. When you're not winning, you lock yourself in your house and you just don't do stupid things. So, like, I know social media has moved on. I know that, and you have to be top of the game. you don't really. People are getting pissed off now at the club at stuff. My advice is just hold back. Don't fight the fires. Just don't do. Who cares? You caught a ball. Well, who, like? Why are you putting?
To be fair, everybody's getting it tonight. If you didn't get it last week, you're getting it tonight. Between the two pods, nobody's
I think you were too you're all like really nice and stuff last week. Great pod. I love listening to it. It was actually enjoyable. Long pod. Sure, stuck the knife in a few times, lads.
Right. Oh, God. Okay. And just remember, Aaron Hoey, if you're listening, that was a comment from someone on Twitter. We love you so much. You're our favourite employee at the club. We catch all the balls you want. You're our hero.
Lads, Santa was around and he stuck the one word answers into... I'm afraid to press play on this because I'm not sure I've heard it. But anyway, let's see what Santa did with the one word answers.
Up, you miserable negative bunch of potato-loving leprechauns. I'm Alfie, and here's what you fucking moanbags replied to us after the match on Twitter. Limp up front. I feel for the lads. We are in the 4-team dog fight. There were 2 good goals, though. Going down, just the way I like it. We are to easy up the back. At the back. At least Sligo lost. Give us time, we will pull it out. Together. Luke Littler is a security man. The midfield are a bunch of vulnerable boys. They are lost without Gregor.
It's just negativity everywhere. That comment there that the midfield are like a bunch of little boys. There's a lot of truth in that. What we're continually being over. I think Kit Nelson's a fantastic player, but for me, Sean Murray's been poor. Alec Nolan's been rightly dropped tonight. I think he's been really, really poor since he came in. I'm not sure. We all started off saying Shipston is going to be this, Shipston is going to be that. I'm not sure what he's contributing at the moment. And if you have no Greg Bolger, Murray isn't at it, Shipston isn't at it, Alec Nolan isn't at it, it's very easy for your midfield to look like a bunch of little boys, Scott.
When do you start blaming Tim Clancy? Can't be. I'm sorry, no, but there's this narrative going around that I'm actually going to defend Dermot Usher here. He gives the funding, he gives the wage. What do we call it? Weekly wage.
The
ownership group. Yeah, but at what stage do we look at the hierarchy of the coaching staff?
Well,
I loved Tim Clancy. I think if it wasn't for Tim Clancy, we'd be rock bottom. I really do. But at what stage do you realise, we haven't got these players because manager's choice, surely?
I look at it this way, okay? And if a manager has been provided with the necessary budgets and the necessary players to put a good a competitive squad together, and that squad fails and struggles, then for me it's on the manager. If I believe the manager hasn't been given the backing necessary to put the quality of squad together that would be needed to be competitive or just stay alive comfortably in the division, then I'm always very slow to put anything on the manager, and I always put it on the hierarchy of the club, and that's where I am so far this season. For me, it's on the hierarchy of the club. We hear about the transfer committee. I would love to know how many players Tim Clancy brought to the transfer committee and suggested, and he was knocked back based on whatever reasoning it might be it financial, be it housing, be it, whatever other million reasons they would have, So nobody's going to have those discussions. Tim's not going to come out and say, oh yeah, I wanted to sign 10 players and they wouldn't leave me, So I guess as the season unfolds, and probably be the end of the season, or whenever Tim, if he ever moves on, he might be here for the next 10 years and win 7 leagues. Who knows? But do you know what I mean? I can't put it on Tim at the moment, when to me it's pretty obvious in my head anyway where the issue is at the moment.
I'm glancing at the game here up and down, but who's up top tonight? Is it
Patrick, Nelson, and yeah.
All right, interesting. Because Tim Clancy said in his interview after the game that Cahill played as a centre forward.
Centre forward, yeah.
come on.
I didn't see that watching.
It was three interchangeable. They were interchangeable.
Yeah, it was like
Cahill was in front at one stage. I saw it. Like
yeah, it was interchangeable, and it was all those.
Well, that's a good explanation to get now. Like I see now what you mean. Yeah.
Right. We'll
never know the ins and outs of that. To be fair, though, like
Decky usually does. That's why I'm agreeing with him because he usually does.
No, it's just like
it's
just my opinion.
I think it's a bit of both. To be honest, like I think it is. I think it. Like,
can we say the biggest mistake we made was signing Maguire and Keating at the same time? Is that the biggest mistake we made? No, forget they're injured.
No.
Say Maguire has 10 goals and Keating has 5. Let's just say that's happened, right? Was, in hindsight, even if they're still playing not injured, is that the biggest... I know you used that wrong word to use, but is that basically stopping us from progressing?
I understand what you mean perfectly, and I would say no, because if they had 15 goals between them, it wouldn't matter how many we were conceding at the back because we'd still be winning games,
Okay. Shamrock are 1 up.
Piss off.
I don't know who scored for them and I don't care.
Aaron Green. Greener?
Oh, lads, you're ahead of me, so I'm just about to see it, so...
That was my stream ahead of yours.
It's 0-0. How many minutes are gone in your stream?
35, 33.
Oh, my good God.
I'm just seeing a replay of this goal. Oh dear. Oh dear God. He has no right to be coming in the back there tapping that home from 4 yards up.
Off. Like. And prior to that, Charlie Lyons loses the ball out here on the wing, Out here on the wing, lads,
we're just talking about squad. I'm serious, you cannot be put this on the players. Like, we don't have a squad. We literally have...
Wayne, that goal there, though, that was...
Wayne, that's basic defending. That's basic defending.
That's not...
It is basic, but 36 minutes of it's constant defending. I just think Look, I can't criticize them. I really can't.
No, I understand what you're saying. I do. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. But if you can't criticize the players, then I don't think you can criticize the management because...
No, I wasn't criticizing. No, I was only questioning it.
I understand
I love Tim Clancy. I'm just saying I was questioning at what stage does Tim get the blame, or at what stage does the ownership get the blame? Because nobody's getting the blame, and someone has to take the blame for this. Because this isn't good enough.
I think if you're asking in general, I think we lose tonight. I think if we lose to Bohs and we lose to Waterford, I think Tim Clancy comes under massive pressure from the fan base. Absolutely, I think he does. I won't agree with it, but I think he will come under pressure.
The reason that happens, Deck, is like the majority of the fan base are not... Oh, great save. The majority of the fan base are your... I don't know, especially this type of fan now that we're attracting to the club, like, and they don't give a shit what goes on in the boardroom or transfer committees or any of this stuff. They just see Cork City again or 9th. They're going to get relegated. The manager. It's we signed Keating and Maguire. They got injured. The fan base will go for the manager. The general fan base, once the results go the wrong way and routes start to drop, they won't give a shit of who's plowing money in and whatever. That only comes maybe after 1 or 2 manager changes, or 3 or maybe, and it's like, all right, well, there's something else wrong now.
We'll go to half-time and we'll start our second half as half-time starts in Tala, and then we'll hopefully be finished and we can all sit down and watch the second half in Tala. If that makes sense for everybody listening, it made sense in my head.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Join us after the break for the second half of this TOTAP podcast, where it'll be half-time in Tala. See you after the break.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, listen up, toe tapper. Do you love us? Do you sit back and wait every week for the pod to drop? Do you close your eyes and listen to our dulcet tones? If you have answered yes to any of these, we need you to show us the love financially. There are costs involved in creating this multi-award-winning podcast. And if you aren't already a Patreon, then it's time to stop being a freeloader. For as little as $5 a month, you will get weekly exclusive pods. There's access to data, a member section of our website, special early bits of the normal pod, and you can have direct one-to-one access to us with new benefits also on the way. So head to patreon.com/TOTAP and sign up now.
Welcome back to part 2, Toe Tappers. During the break, I learned that Declan Carey is shizzing all over his bedroom, whatever that means. But anyway, let's dip into the bag. Speaking of shizzing,
he has got the looks, he has got the style, he is the bowler at the back. He has got a big bag, and it is magnifique. It's Mbengbag, baby.
Mbengbag, baby. We have some of these in audio fashion, but the bag was late going up, so there aren't a huge amount of questions. But Billy Dorney says, like, only one question: can we actually survive the season without a proper squad? Seriously worrying at the moment. Like, okay, we're all giving out about the squad.
Can we sign players who are out of contract, or is that window closed as well?
No, you can. You can. Question. Scotty, I'll ask you the question this way that Billy's asking, right? We've given out about the squad, the formation, the squad, and that. Yeah. But are you really genuinely concerned by the thought of relegation?
Yes. Okay. Mainly because, at least with Keating, right? You have a player that, if we're under pressure, you launch it, he can hold on to the ball, and he can give the defensive breather, get the wingers up. We have something to hold up top. We have nothing now. So we're literally... I'm really generally think we're going down. And you know me, I was positive for the last few weeks. I just can't, unless Maguire comes back and scores 15 goals, or Cobh turns into a superstar. But sure, he's going to get contract offers from July onwards, and that's going to be another issue we're going to have, is like, is he staying, is he going, and will it affect his game? The uncertainty, and history shows me that we're not ready for the window. And that worries me. We're going to get the Warmans in, the Kravchuks in September, August, and it's too late.
I'm 95% sure Cahill will be sold in the window. I think Tim Clancy has literally been selling him for the last 2 months, and every window he does, he talks about how good he is. You know, he said the other night, and I don't blame him. Obviously, the more money the club get in, the bigger budget Tim's going to get. Like he said, if Mason Mead is worth 2 million and Cahill is worth 10 million, he's
on a marketing drive
selling
there.
A story.
He's on a marketing drive there to build his budget for the summer. He's trying to, That's
but what if that deal doesn't go through until August? What if the deal doesn't go through to the last week of August, and then the money's in, but those players are signed somewhere else? These players in England are not going to sign.
It's like using a credit card. Then, look, to be honest, the offers are probably coming in for Cahill at this stage, and given the way Tim is talking in the media, just with my chairman hat on, the club are definitely getting offers, and they're potentially not happy with them. And the reason he's been on off the ball, and he's been on other things, talking Cahill up, etc., is like increase the offers. And I'd imagine we've gotten the usual insulting stuff like 150k plus add-ons and this kind of stuff. And I reckon he's trying to beef that up as much as possible, so that potentially then negotiations will get it to a more positive place by May or June, and then he'll have a bit of a cash in the bank to maybe sign a player and pay a fee. I think that's where the angle he's gone down, because we typically don't pay fees.
There's no way we're paying a fee for a player, Declan.
But if we get, $500,000 plus for Cahill, we have to, because otherwise we're just, as you said, we're going to be getting the Warmans and the Kravchuks and what's the guy we got from Preston there that time as well? Tall fella, useless. What's his name in my time? Can't remember his name now. Simpson. Yeah. He
was on what's that United Salford City show again? Class 92. After he left us, he was training. After he left us, he was training with Salford.
That's right.
Which was a kind of strange one.
The lad who did the doc. So when he put in the link for the mailbag, he linked it back to the 10th of March, which is just about 4 weeks ago. I was looking at the questions going, this doesn't make sense. Okay, let's have a look at the date. This is why it doesn't make much sense. Anyway, as I said, it was a quiet mailbag, but what we have done is we have put a couple in voice note form. So I'm not sure which is which. I'm going to press this one and see what it says.
Hi, everyone. I'm Connor. My question for the large sack is, if everyone played all 36 games this season, who would get the most yellow cards? Charlie Lyons, Greg Bolger, or Tim Clancy from the sideline? Thanks, guys. Love the pod.
This one's an easy answer, surely.
Oh,
anyway.
God, all day long.
God.
He's been booked in all games but one.
Was that Josh Honahan who scored?
Yeah.
He just grabbed the badge. Yeah. Little
rat. I'd say it.
He grabs the badge then, like.
Of course he does, yeah. Yeah. You know, that's what
lads, we're in big trouble here, like. We really are. I just wish people could see this.
I'm hoping he had an itchy chest there before he did that cringy fist bump there, and I hope he just had an itch.
Did you see his bicycle kick before that threw tipped over?
Yeah.
No, I have a little tablet under the monitor here, and I'm dancing up and down.
Another goal just before half time.
Unbelievable! Great save. Like,
what do you do, lads? What do we do here? Like what? Like, what are our options? This is the problem. If you've got a rubbish team, right, at least you have a chance of a couple of those players getting better. We don't have a team.
How were the results in the mini league going?
Oh, God, I can't wait for this whole... I didn't think the game was that bad tonight from people.
There goes our game in hand anyway, Wayne. Do you know, I remember a few weeks ago you were full of optimism. We've that game in hand. That's kind of 3 points as well.
Yeah, he does the grab the badge.
He's really
trying to play it down, but he grabbed the badge. Yeah,
he's doing that. That's purely for TOTAP, lads. Purely.
I don't know. He'd do the dart, surely, if it was for TOTAP. I don't give a shit.
No, he knows.
You know, Matt Healy's on the bench. He's not even good enough to start. So, you know.
Okay. I have a question for the pod. I'm going to put this into the pod. Hi, TOTAP. Long time listener, first time caller. Would you take back Cobh Ramblers players in July? If so, who?
I think we said before we take back Jonas.
Jonas, Coffey.
And Shane Griffin.
Keane Murphy.
The experienced Shane Griffin. I'd take Jonas, Shane Griffin, and Keane Murphy. Yeah, I would.
I take Coffey as well. I tell you, like,
what about Bagsy?
This is talking about standards. You talking about standards, Wayne? You were talking about standards earlier on and mediocrity and how the fan base's heads are gone, and we don't have standards. I know you're talking about going back and taking 4 players out of Cobh. Come on, because you know come on.
I trust them more than I trust our lads. This transfer committee of 4 random people of saying yes or no to a player where they have no football. Is it one footballing person on this transfer committee? Is it Carney or Delaney? Who is it again? Let's throw shit up in the water. Who's in transfer committee, Declan? There's Dermot Usher. There's who else is on it? Come on, let's get it out. Is Aina on it?
Yes.
Is Liam Carney on it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is Damon Delaney on it?
Yes.
And who's the 4th person?
Tim Clancy.
So Tim Clancy's on his own transfer committee.
Well, like he brings, as part of the committee, like if that's the 4 of them.
So
Tim brings
our transfer committee consists of our current manager. I'm going to lose my shit here now, so stop me if I do, okay? An ex-player for like a season and a half that pissed off to Leicester, and our owner and CEO. That's our transfer committee.
I believe, I'm not saying it is, I'm saying I believe, and Declan will back me up here, I'm sure. I believe.
Are we on the alleged line here now? Should I just shut up or I keep going? Like,
no, you can keep going. It's just it's my opinion that those 4 people are on the transfer.
I just think we're fucked, lads. You know what I mean? This is just, and this is why I got off the forum, because it's just depressing me looking at it every day. And I've been sick as a dog for the last 3 weeks, but I was actually quite content in my life that I didn't have to deal with this shit for 3 weeks. And this club means so much to me, and it's just been ripped apart for the last 7 years. It's really getting to me now. I'm sorry for people who liked all the calm podcasts last week. I apologise for bringing this into distribute again, but look, deal with it.
Wayne needs more codeine for Wayne.
but look, it's like the transfer committee. Nobody knew about it until Dermot Usher spoke about it somewhere, and he put it on as that it's people who are experts in their fields, who know all about football, who have great football contacts.
What are the experts in, Declan?
You tell me.
In fairness to Aina's on it purely, I'd imagine, for his knowledge on contracts and the transfer logistics, I would say. He's purely on it for that.
Committee. That's not a transfer committee. Yeah. That's the person who deals with after transfers decisions.
He's more part of the transfer process, I would say. Rather,
right, so that's one gone. So it's 3 left, right? We've got David Delaney, we've got Tim Clancy, and John Russia.
Sorry, no. Committee was the word that was used, right? Now, somebody did come to me a long time ago after Dermot spoke and said that may be a different view of the committee that other people have of the committee. Other people's views, and I need to be very careful here, might be that it has no involvement in the football aspect. It's just purely the financial aspect. Can this be done? And
okay.
Tim was bringing a player and he was discussing it with Dermot and he was discussing with Elena because of contracts, and he was discussing with Damien Delaney because he is the football advisor to the owner. And somebody said, look, instead of you having 4 different conversations or 3 different conversations, why don't we just all get together once a week or whatever it is, and we can have one, everybody can be involved in the discussion and the one discussion at the time. Which version is correct, I genuinely don't know. But look, I'm of a very strong opinion that those are the 4 people on the transfer committee in inverted commas.
We should never do a pod on a night of a game, I tell you. Getting wound up.
Just waiting for Dan to hook in now at halftime. If he dives who he is, I don't know.
Yeah, where is he? Shall I drop him a reminder?
Maybe.
Where are you at, bro? I'll talk to him like a Gen Z, like.
Can we answer the Charlie line? Who gets the most yellow cards? Charlie Lydes, Tim Clancy, or Greg Bolger?
Charlie Lydes.
For God's sake. He's been booked in all but one game. He didn't get booked away to Derry. That was it. He got booked the other night. Shock horror.
Okay.
He's going to break the record for the club. Jerry Desmond, if you're out there, please tell us what is the maximum number of bookings, cards, etc. that a player holds in the Cork City.
Has to be Declan Daly, surely, or Fergus Donoghue.
In a single season, I'll give him what's the most in a single season.
Could you imagine if Decky Daly was playing today? Like, you talk about Charlie getting booked in every game, Decky be sent off in every game. Like, there'd be fellas halved left, right, and centre, left for dead in the pitch. Like, you know,
he was so tough. They put him right back to get him away from the fucking box. That's what happened there.
Yeah, Decky was, and you still see him in the cross every Friday night watching the games. Like a legend, absolute legend. Will I try another one of these questions? Let's go with this one.
Oh, my turn, please. It's Connor here. Not the other Connor, it's just a common name. My question for the sack that's full is, for the Careman, who do we think wins Saturday's main event? Surely Punk. And my friend Joe has a question for Declan McCormack. What will be the best match of WrestleMania weekend? Yep. With a question like these, you can see we masturbate in our rooms every day. Sometimes together.
That's the last time Santa's been left to anything.
Nasty,
anyway.
lads, come on. Do you not check these beforehand?
I'll treat the questions on their merit. Look, it'll be an interesting main event on Saturday night. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Look, there'll be shenanigans, no doubt, anyway. And I'm rooting for my old friend CM Punk. Old, genuinely close person friend of mine. Declan, the next question was for you. What match are you most looking forward to? Or I guess, what would you think would be the best match?
The best match of the weekend? I think I'm going to go for an outsider. I think people should keep an eye on Athlone Town Ladies at home to Treaty on Saturday night. Top of the table clash. I think that has a huge potential to be the best match of WrestleMania weekend. It's halftime in Tala. That the question was, what was going to be the best match of the weekend? There you go.
Anything from our friend in Oklahoma, gentlemen?
There's another question. There's one that came in. Oh,
sorry, no, Deck. I'll host the pod, right? Just.
I thought you had forgotten about it. I'm sorry, I thought you forgot about it. I was like, come on.
You're only in the door. You're only in the door, though. You know?
I thought you forgot about old.
No. Next year when we're back in the first division of myself and Scotty within 50 feet.
We got a review again here as well, lads.
You could host it. Let's hear from Wynn.
Gentlemen, first of all, thank you for the completely unwarranted attention on the last pod. As I told Wayne, if I were Ryan Reynolds, I can assure you that I would pour enough money into our favorite club so that Declan could never again complain about a thin squad whose only merits was its methods of self-sustainability. Unfortunately, gentlemen, I'm an academic, so I've got more in common with your $60,000 a year fella with 2 kids whose probably biggest decision that I have to make is which of the 2 little brats I'd like to bring more to the cross, since I can only afford to pay for 1 extra ticket. My biggest decision is definitely not picking out which hackneyed straight to Netflix bomb I want to be paid $10 million a day for. But I digress. In an attempt to break up what I'm sure has been the depressingly thorough logic of Declan, and perhaps serve as a backdoor pilot for your Reeling in the City Years program, I do want to ask this lighthearted question. I was first introduced to Turner's Cross thanks to Kev Galvin and Dave Kent's Rebel Radio program, which brought me the sounds of Cork City back in the late teens. The chants of the crowd, the low rumble of the shed end in anticipation of success, and the crackling of the microphone whenever Dave and Kev would scream, "Referee!" It's an affectation actually I quickly adopted and still retain to this day, which my friends continuously make fun of me for. But again, I completed my lecture today a little bit early and had a chance to really appreciate the visual aspect of Cork City that I never quite got with the Rebel Radio program. Rory and Phil Long's dulcet tones may have replaced those of my old friends, but I was just astounded at the picturesque beauty of dusk settling in on the cross, even if the game was not much to look at. It's a beautiful atmosphere, and I hope to enjoy it in both sight and sound one day. But I do got to ask, what is your favorite night that you spent at the cross? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Fucking Americans, 3 minutes to ask something that should take 20 seconds. Like, you know, they're all the same. Thanks, Wade. Thanks for your voice, though. We'll get to it in a second, Win, but I can see Dan is in the lobby looking to join us from Tala. So let's see how this goes.
Hello?
Dan, how are things?
How are you?
Sounds like a fella ringing for a taxi at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Cabs?
I wish I will be. Jesus Christ.
What's the atmosphere like in Tala?
Dead. Nobody cares. Like I was thought it'd be anger now or something at this stage, but no, just dead. Nobody cares. Like nobody cares.
How many City fans there then, roughly?
I think Garrett saying going in there was 60 to 100. I'd say there's a bit more than 100 in around that mark anyway. But yeah, just group of young fellas was trying to make a bit of noise, but like the whole game, it's dead. Atmosphere dead again. As I said, nobody cares.
Dan, we've been very positive in this podcast tonight. How are you feeling at the
minute? Went through. That's just shit, isn't it? Like, it's just shit. I feel like I consigned myself to relegation already. Keeping up without even the fight of it. Like, I just see us going down that road at the stage. I don't know. Like this summer window, it's going to be the same story as 2 years ago. Going down a bad path. Do you see it getting better?
It's hard to, Dan. It's hard to. Can I ask you the reaction to Josh Hounahan scoring for Shams and the little grab of the badge as he walked away afterwards? Was there any reaction from the City fans?
I'd say 2 or 3 shouted "fuck off," but that was it. Nothing. No reaction. The fans don't care. When could you blame? In a weird, like, you know, I'm not getting up for it. No one inside is. I don't know. It's just miserable here, to be honest.
And another goal just before half time as well, like not ideal. Like any hope now of
they were coming. They were coming. Like, sure, they were always going to score. Really, the way they were. Well, weirdly, I felt like we were kind of. They weren't up to much, but just the law of averages, like we were talking about in the pod, or Decky mentioned the pod last week, like when we're giving up that many shots, they're going to put one of them away, and you feel like once they scored one, they were going to score another. And will they sit in now, or will they go for another? I'd say they could take another one off us. Yeah, I'd say.
I think Dan, they're very like Pats. They'll just manage the game, and if an opportunity presents itself, they'll obviously take it. But I think you'll see a lot of them just managing the game. They have another game on Friday night, and they'll be happy to just play it out like St. Pat's were on Friday night, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah. What do you make watching anyway? What do you think? What were we talking about?
It was hard to watch it because This hosting the pod malarkey is difficult, Dan. I'm not going to lie to you.
If only you hosted a podcast every other week and got experience hosting podcasts.
It's not as full on as this one. I guess that's not like that's Damas has it, but I'm used to the last Damas one. This one I'm trying to deal with Scotty. Like, and
he's calling you out, Eileen. You're too soft.
Dan, this pod now is an hour and a half long.
Yeah, we're nearly done. Any hope at all, Dan? Like,
No one cares. Again, I keep reiterating it. Like, I've nothing else to say, but just nobody cares in that stand. But people care, but like, it's just miserable. Yeah, sick of this place.
Count yourself lucky,
Feel
Dan.
free to get a few interviews on there, Dan, when you're at it, if you can.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
I know, but if you want to speak to some of the fans and things like that, we'd certainly put them on social media during the week. Like, you know,
we'll see.
Do something with
them. Usually they're fairly cagey whenever I mention doing an interview anyway.
They don't want to be banned by the club, have their season tickets revoked.
All right, we're back on here, lads, so I'll talk to you.
Safe trip home, Dan.
Stay safe, Dan.
Hello.
Thanks. Okay, so rather than
do you know what? No, right? People going to listen to this now, right? And say how depressed and down we are. Dan now had no idea what this pod was happening. He came on and had the exact same conversation.
Yeah.
It's a worry. People aren't going to protest because they don't care anymore.
Imagine the fans driving up the Bohs on Friday listening to us and then listening to Dan there, like, in
what
the UA
worries
section.
me actually is like, no matter how, like, being 2-0 down, but nobody reacts to Josh Houlihan scoring, nobody reacts to him doing the badge thing, the shirt. That to me is the most worrying of all, because, you know, I can remember having reactions to players and you're 2 down, you're 3 down, doesn't matter. Like, it's still him and I fucking hate him or whatever it might be, and you react to the player. And I think when fans stop reacting to things like that, it's a very more worrying sign than normal. But look, instead of depressing ourselves, let's go back to Wynn's question. Your favourite Cork City memory, Jack? Favourite night?
Yeah, I have 2 really. Close runner-up, very close runner-up is getting the club back up to the Premier Division after such a depressing couple of years, and the sheer emotion. Felt like Rory McIlroy there on the playoff green. But the last night of the Shed, City and Derry, nothing will ever top that for me as a City fan. I'd say. John O'Flynn back after a lengthy injury, bangs in a header. Liam Kearney, legend, like, unforgettable night.
Scott?
Malmo, Kearney's goal. I was proud to be a City fan, and there was potential. There was hope.
Said best night in Turner's Cross, though.
Oh, Turner's Cross.
Was Malmo at home, Dan Murray, 2 headers.
No, Nijmegen was good when Kevin Doyle scored.
Oh yeah,
the header.
That was
because again we were full of hope.
Sun was shining.
Yeah.
Sunday
afternoon.
Kevin Doyle jumped 12 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was in the St. Anne's Road, and to this day I'm still waiting for the referee to blow his whistle because Doyle was so high, I presumed he was holding, that he had his 2 hands on your man's shoulders to elevate him. And when he didn't, and the referee didn't blow the whistle, I was like, Jesus Christ, how did he get that high? Personally, I'd be with Deck. I think 2005 against Derry, that last night at the Shed, everything just falling into place. Yeah. The lads, Georgie in the Shed afterwards with the trophy and everything else. It was just
perfect night.
It was magic.
Cork City.
It's almost as if part of Cork City died that night when the Shed came down, and that was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a critical moment in our
3-0, 3-0.
I know.
Yeah, they'll just sit in and manage the game. They won't go chasing the turret.
Can we just talk about the good old days? It's an unsung hero of a game that goes under the radar, I think, as well, because we didn't do the double that year and we lost the cup final. But you remember the cup semi-final replay against Derry in the Cross? I think it was on like a Thursday night.
Georgie
the
penalty.
Mud bank of Turner's Cross, and George got a last-minute penalty, and he absolutely stuck it. He'd done the keeper before he took it as well. The keeper was trying to put him off and whatever, and he absolutely done him.
And it was Stephen O'Flynn who committed the foul to give away the penalty. Yeah.
Your man who was on goal went on to play for Ireland, got capped a few times too, didn't he? What's his name again?
David Ford.
Ford, yeah.
David
Ford.
Ford is right.
George was putting the ball on the spot, and Ford walked up to him and tried to put him off, and George fucking stuck it in the top corner. And the pitch was just an absolute shit. There was talk the game wouldn't even go ahead, but it had to go ahead because the season was ending, and it would have just caused fixture chaos. Like, we played Derry twice in the space of like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we thought when we get them back in the 18th of November, it was, that they'd do us, like. And McCourt came on in that game, and he was useless. And
but him starting without McCourt that night was just a shambles. Like,
yeah,
I know they only
McCourt paid him back with a shit performance when he came off the bench. Then,
yeah, but I know they only needed to draw the game, but like Kenny got in his own head that night. Like, you know, like, how does Team Truce leave that ball through his hands?
This is hard, lad. This is hard, lads. This is worse than 2023. Do you know that?
And it's only 48 minutes. Like, this could be 4 or 5 here, lads. And that does not look good on paper. Again, going back to the great Cork sporting public, like,
we're defensively, we're an absolute shambles.
Declan, here's one bit of advice you'd give the club tonight to do. What would you give them?
Me, is it?
No, Declan. As ex-chairman, there's one bit of advice. I know what you'd say, Decky.
I'll hark back to the great advice I once got from my mentor himself. I'd bring everyone involved in the first team only into a clear the air, no bullshit meeting first thing tomorrow morning. And the club is in a position to do that now with a private ownership group. Like, we were in a very delicate situation with different board members and whatever, and we all had different opinions, I suppose, and things like that. Like, when I got that advice from Brian, I was like, Brian, I'm not the single owner. I can't fucking drag everyone in tomorrow morning and start fucking them blind, and just HR processes and all this kind of stuff. Like, and he was like, nah, fuck that, come on, do it. And look, we did something similar, and I think time is right now for it, because like, I think this squad is so bare. We need to really push and get as much out of this group and the coaches as much as humanly possible. And yeah, that's the advice I'd give. No more of this like nicey shite fucking about on social media, all this stuff, and like just going up to Tala here now and getting spanked probably 4 or 5-0, and throw a few F-bombs around tomorrow and bring the squad in. And we've what now, like 27 games left or whatever, or 26, 27 games. There's still plenty of time. Like,
I got 26, 27 games. Either we see the league tweet today where they're on about the title race, the big weekend in the title race, and it's fucking Easter weekend, the title doesn't go till November. I mean, Jesus wept, come on. But anyway, right, we need to look at Bohs. I know, yeah. We Drogheda and Shelbourne in the title race. We need to look at Bohs away and Waterford at home next weekend. Good Friday, Easter Monday. Scott, you've already said you think
Decky, I don't care. Honest to God, no. I'm not in the frame of mind to be doing this. Okay, yeah. We lose 3-0 in both of them. We're shit. That's my no, I'm serious. No, I just I've had enough of this now. It's just like I'm getting pissed off every year this is happening.
Okay. Can we put it this way? We're now a quarter of the way through the season. This is our 9th game tonight. It's 4 9s, 4 quarters. We've won 1 game of the first 9. So in the first round of games, we've won 1 game. Like, that is, we're lucky that Sligo are as bad as they are. I still look at that Sligo squad and think there's good players there. I see John Russell coming under pressure. If you move a manager on, we're not going to get into it, but like, who's around the country? What are the options? Declan Devine and Colin Healy are probably the 2 options. I don't think anybody wants to touch Declan Devine. Colin Healy could be sitting pretty in a month's time with a choice of Sligo or Waterford, and God knows what else is happening, you know? So
he won't take a job up the country, you'd imagine.
No, he won't.
Yeah. So look, we have Bohs away on Friday. Is there any chance, Deck, that we go up there and get something? Like
Bohs at home, like, I know now they had such a long run without a result at home, and I know they got it last week or whatever, but they nearly blew it again. Like, but so you know, you never know. They're just such a basket case this year. You don't know what you're going to get with them. But my worry is now that they've got the monkey off their back. Like, they'll play with a bit more freedom, and they'll have no fear of us now with us going in with 2 heavy enough not heavy enough defeats against Pats, no, to be fair, but like, you know, two goals potentially here now with no goals and heavy defeat up in Tala, and then we're travelling again now in tomorrow for a cool down session or whatever, training on Wednesday, session on Thursday, and then a match on Friday. Like,
there has to be a day off in there as well, doesn't
yeah,
it?
Wednesday
I don't know whether there is or there isn't.
Yeah.
A day off for what?
Player sacrifice.
A day off for what?
Because the PFAI contracts insist. The PFAI contracts insist. There's no options here. The contracts are the contracts, and they have to be abided.
Their day off was today. Their day off was Friday. That's enough.
They're not off today, though.
Like
I know I'm saying I can't blame the players, but this is just getting too much for me now. Watching
this is why, Wayne, I think like a nice F the world meeting tomorrow, and you might get some buy-in from players to come in and do a bit of extra work. Maybe, I don't know. You never know.
And this is why I was so annoyed that the Shamrock Rovers game was set for tonight, and I tried to emphasise it at the time. Yep. It massively impacts next weekend and how we prepare for next weekend. And they're now the two biggest games of the season.
And the game after the Waterford game, it's just going to be chaos season. Like, this is potentially Armageddon, like, if it goes wrong. And you're right.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it was so frustrating.
And it was like it's and like when there was a Friday, Monday coming the following weekend for the FAI to send us, or the league office to send us to Dublin on the Monday night to give us 2 Friday Mondays back to back. It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. Now, I don't care when we go to Tala, we were going to lose the game, right? That's not the argument I'm having. I'm saying it's the impact that it has on the following weekend is absolutely huge, and I'm not sure people understand it.
I don't understand the rush to play it, to be honest. Like, why? I don't understand the rush to.
Yeah, but look, we go to Bohs. I think Bohs' numbers show that they've been a lot unlucky. They had 31 shots on goal against Galway. Now, you can argue they couldn't finish their breakfast. Hopefully that happens on Friday. But everybody scores against us. We've now conceded in 9 games on the bounce. All 9 games we've conceded in. Like, you cannot operate like that. And they have good players in Dawson Devoy, Tierney in there in the middle. They'll pull the strings. They're probably a little weak in front of goal, but like, just the way things are going for us, it's going to go in off Dawson Devoy's arse or something, and we lose 1-0, and we head into Waterford then, which will be it's called it a big game is an understatement. It's an absolute massive game. And then you go to Sligo for an even bigger game again. And as you said, if this all goes horribly wrong over the next 3 games, it's brutal. If it goes right and we win 2 of them, then things look a lot better. But I don't think anybody has any confidence that we'll be capable of doing that.
Finally, Skeeters is coming on. A striker. It's about time.
Yeah, like I know we beat Bohs at the Cross. Beat Bohs at the Cross, but like, we had Balger, Keating, like, we were,
Balger, Keating, McGuire, they all played that night.
Yeah. Like, we were a different team completely, like, and that's the team that would scrape a good few wins and get results, but trying to get that 11 onto the pitch every week,
okay,
sad situation. It's a sad situation.
It's too long for Scotty now in these pods, and he's sitting in the dark. If you could see Scotty now, he's just sitting in the dark.
Honestly,
But that's
it's just horrible watching this. Like, I don't want the pod fine. It's just this watching City just implode like this is just heartbreaking to watch. I know some people are going, "Oh, it's overreacting." I'm not overreacting. It's just our club's falling to pieces again.
Let's do it this way. Let's do a points prediction from the 2 games. Bohs away, Waterford at home. Points prediction.
0.
1 point. I'll go 1 point. Ben said 0.
He said 0.
0
is going to be mine, to be honest with you. I don't see us getting anything on Friday. I think we draw at home to Waterford. I don't want to be this downbeat. I don't want to be this depressed, but it's so hard. The only thing is, if Greg comes back on Friday night, plays half an hour and starts against Waterford, that has to give us a boost, but then he has to get through that Waterford game, and Is there a danger now that we start to maybe rush Greg back too soon, rush Shawnee back too soon, just out of pure panic and desperation?
Greg, given I don't think it was as serious an injury as Shawnee, and Shawnee's obviously got like history with his hamstring and things like that. Like, so I'm not overly concerned with Greg. I think, like, look, if he's ready to come back, he'll be back, and yeah, a half an hour on Friday would be fantastic, and hopefully we bring him on for a last half hour to maybe hold on to a draw or something like that, or like keep Bohs out, and it strengthens us up a bit. And then on Monday, if we get a good 70 minutes, I don't see us losing on Monday. But I'm still going for the 1 point prediction, I think, which is sad enough, I know. Oh dear, lads. Oh dear. It's just grim, isn't it? Like,
we've dragged you down.
I know, I predicted we'd finish 6th, for fuck's sake. But just, I think having the match
I said you were up.
on the screen here in front of me. I know, yeah. The match here on the screen in front of me, and like just looking at the scoreline, it's only 58 minutes. Like, it's just, yeah. As a football fan, it's just grim, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just the players need to be put into a room and all this shit. I think all the fans need to be put into a room too to sort shit out and just get behind the club and just, I don't know what to do. Like, we're in a bad place.
I think that Monday against Rovers, like, I think that's like another critical part in our season. Like, I don't want to harp back on it again, but like, you know,
yeah,
the world is a different place if that game goes ahead on the Monday, and we would have stuffed Rovers. Maguire, the lads,
we were flying. We were on top. Everybody
we
was
had confidence, was good. Yeah. Everyone was happy. Optimism. Rovers had no interest playing the game. We would have beat them, and then like subsequent events wouldn't have transpired as they did, I feel like.
And here they are tonight again, rewarded for their shithousery. But look, sleep with the devil, he will turn on you eventually.
Are we trying to wait for 2 hours here, lads, to watch the story?
Yeah, okay. Well, like, I'm trying to get to a natural finish. We haven't really done 2 proper previews, but we're not going to do them now. So, look.
Yeah. I think it's tough. Look, the squad is threadbare. I don't think there's any point trying to predict what the squad is at this stage. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. We're not going to see.
You can't be harsh on the players. I know I keep saying it, but
folks, thanks for listening. We're going to bid you a good night with all the despondency, despair, doom and gloom in the world that we can muster up.
Here we go, lads.
We'll be back next week.
Same.
It's just okay.
No. Sorry, lads. Do you want to start that again, Decky? Sorry.
No, it's fine. We'll leave that there. It works nicely.
Yeah.
This time next week, we'll have played Waterford, we'll have played Bohs, we'll either be cock-a-hoop, or could we be more doom and gloom than tonight? You bet we can. Just let's see what happens next week. Until then, adios.
Cero miedo, amigos.
Auf Wiedersehen.
The next episode will be available very soon.